currently the auditor for Wilson County. She has done a great job since she got here with us. And she previously, I believe, worked for Phelps. She's got a lot of experience in things like that. And I think she would be willing to come and answer some questions. She's got a lot of questions for y'all. But ultimately, I thought this is, at the very least, y'all need to have this dialogue with some of these professionals so we can make a decision soon. Because once this budget starts, once we start using this budget, I think it is my recommendation to the board that y'all have a preliminary auditor slash bookkeeper assistant Mary with a lot of these numbers that she hasn't maybe had to deal with before, or hasn't had to deal with as strictly as we do as a political subdivision. Because I think that we always need to be preparing for that state audit, that annual state audit. And that's not something that you get all this in line right before it needs to stay in line constantly. And that's why I thought that maybe sometime part-time auditor would be a good idea. Mr. Munoz is one, but I feel it should, be good for y'all to at least one. Mr. Trevino.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Are you there? Would you like me to stand with you? I don't want to talk to you about
No,
it.
it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you all for having me here tonight. As Tom said, I'm Brenda Trevino. I'm a lifelong resident, most of my life here in Wilson County. I am the current auditor for Wilson County. Have been in office for a little over a year. Just completed my entire budget season for the last 3 months. I've been in business and finance my entire career. Outside of regular work, I guess you could say, in my spare time, I do provide client services in regards to bookkeeping to small businesses. In addition to that, I also serve as the executive treasurer for the Floresville Peanut Festival Association, and I am the president of Sacred Heart School Board in Floresville as well, so I oversee their budget and finances as well. In talking a little bit to Tom, I'm not really sure the extent of the work that you're looking for. I can tell you I can provide services from the very basic, which would be just basic overview. If you have someone already on staff or going to be on staff who's going to be providing or doing the regular data entry and doing the monthly in financials, and you want me to just review it to ensure that it's correct before it's presented to you, all the way to the highest level, which would be starting from ground zero. Depending on what type of accounting software you have, if you have any now, I would recommend that the budget that you have approved tonight be implemented in accounting software. It is highly recommended because then you're able to keep track of all of your expenses and your revenues coming in on actual provided data sheets that an external auditor would need at your end of the year external audit requirement. So without really knowing the extent of the services that you need, I'd like to just either discuss tonight or at a later time you tell me what you're looking for, and then I can better provide you with more detail on what you need or what I can provide.
Well, we have nothing. I mean, we're starting right from the ground up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, again, it's going to depend on if it's, as Stephen mentioned, coming in and training someone, if it's your director, on how to do your monthly transactions, how to do your prepare your monthly financials, how to do the month-end reconciliations, and then you want me to review that. I can do all of the training that's necessary, or I can actually do that work as well, and maybe over the course of time. I know that you have a lot going on in a short amount of time trying to get everything ready, so I can do as little as you want or as much as you want. You tell me what you need. Tom and Stephen can attest to my number one most important factor, I think, in my role as accounting auditor in any work that I do is ensuring that organizations are adhering to their budget, and I'm very clear when they're not. So
why are you spending this on that?
I have gotten calls, why did that employee get paid overtime? But I do want to be clear, I think it is imperative, year one, y'all done a great budget, but there are going to be roadblocks in that budget. It's not going to work as smoothly. Year one, having an auditor overseeing it or kind of keeping us on track or showing us where the amendments, you can forecast the amendments we're going to need is imperative, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and if she sets it up, if we're the one, she's the one we hire or whatever, and she sets it up from day one, then, we start on October with everything in line to help Mary to get it all together, to take this one budget and move it for the whole year.
yeah, and there's a lot of things that minor details that you may not either be aware of or can think of, as Mr. Talley was talking about benefits enrollments. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you're going to need I'm assuming, some type of workers' comp coverage, unemployment coverage. All of these things play a huge factor in your yearly budget. And all of those line items should be specific in your budget for your taxpayers to be able to see where the money is being spent.
Right.
And just as the county budget, you're able to look at any department and see exactly where the money's funneled through. So it's very important to be able to, at the very least, set up your budget in, I am QuickBooks certified. I don't know if you're currently using QuickBooks or what you're using, but QuickBooks Online is a great avenue because you can access it anywhere. I'm available at all hours to call and answer questions or ask questions, and I'm good at asking lots of questions. And so that would be my recommendation to you. And cost is going to be determined on your need and exactly, again, how much you want and for how long. So.
I sort of envisioned that at first it'll be very intensive, setting it up, getting it ready, and then the first couple of months helping her make decisions where should this go or where should that go, or maybe answering her phone call and say, hey, I've got this, what is it going? And then as things progress, as she gets better on this, it may just be a supervisory type thing, where you check it once a month and say, yeah, that looks good, or no, we need to change this, or we need to make this, or clean it up, in this manner. That's what I envision.
Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of the idea that I got as well, not knowing really, because you haven't started, not really knowing what your process is now in terms of bills being paid and bank reconciliations and how much time that's taking you. But I can definitely offer ways to be more efficient and provide you the financials that you need, and then hope, that within time, Mary could be knocking that stuff out again, depending on, her workload and how long it takes, not knowing how many transactions you have. But you're absolutely right. In the beginning, it is going to be some legwork to get it up and running from ground zero.
Well, it's going to be much easier to do it from the very beginning than jump in after you've been doing it for 3 months and move things around.
Absolutely. I had a client who didn't have about 2 years worth of financials not done, and it took quite some time, and I started from January 1 and entered every kind of payroll transaction and bill. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I got. So I've done that, but you're absolutely right. Starting from scratch and fresh out of the box is my recommendation.
So your compensation is salary based, hourly based?
It would be a contracted amount monthly. Sure. It could change definitely with the level of service that's needed, and I would be honest enough to tell you, okay, I think you're ready. You don't need me to be doing all the ins and outs of it, and Mary's ready to take on, and she could provide that feedback to you as well.
Okay.
your accounts payable and receivables you do now, what's your time frame on that?
We don't have that, I mean, it's just the basic stuff every month. And the treasurer looks at the bank statement and reconciles them together. And
Is it all like the bill paying and everything?
it's the basic thing, because it's everything, the same thing every month. So it just, we know when one's due, payroll is outsourced, so it's just me going to the computer, the input and payroll, and that's it. And making sure money's in the bank. And
I think she's right, though, we're gonna have to be much more detailed.
Yeah.
exactly,
Right.
yes.
And it needs to be very transparent what we do. And somebody should be able to pick that up and say, I understand this,
Right.
without having to come to us for minute explanations.
Right.
And I think it behooves us to get that in progress as soon as we
Like that.
possibly can. That's my feeling.
Because I've never had to deal with, like, when you talk about the benefit part, because we didn't have them, so that, how to input all that, we're on the outsource our payroll still.
So you currently have people on payroll, I'm
Yes.
assuming these are your volunteers that are, so what payroll company do you?
ADP.
Okay, okay. So I'm very familiar with ADP, so that if you have that in your budget to continue using them for your payroll services, there are ways to do it at a lesser expense to you, that I can provide that to you as well. Payroll is fairly simple to do, you know how to do it, especially if you have QuickBooks available.
No help.
Yeah. ADP is very efficient in what they do. I would recommend ADP for larger organizations because I've done payroll conversions with ADP. So for an organization this size, I believe that's an area that you would be able to save money on because it is something that can
What's
easily.
the charging?
It's per payroll. It's per payroll, so it's like $83 per payroll.
So every 2 weeks is $83?
Yes, sir, and then they charge for when they do the quarterly pay,
Yeah.
so they have to do the 941.
Let me,
I know with QuickBooks service.
I'm just thinking, would we, as a board, ask her to look into what Mary's doing and then come back to us and kind of negotiate it that way, or how do we interact this to get, someone that is not rented somebody else to come in and do it?
It's my thought that we would get her to work with, go see what Mary's got, determine what needs to be done, and then come back and say, this is what I can do for you, and about how much it would cost you to.
I can do that.
this.
Sure.
Because she's not gonna know what she's gonna have to do until she sits down and sees what we
We
got.
kind of talked about this a while back in our budget process, and hanging about doing this. And so now it goes down to, do we make a motion, that we,
She talks to Mary, and then Brenda brings to us, look, this is what I see that you need. This is how much, yeah, this is my contract fees, and then we go from there. We approve it or not.
Or would you make that into a motion? Or if you would like to?
We need to
I don't think I need to, because they talk outside of,
The board's not,
and
you're not taking action on anything.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Ms. Trevino will,
volunteering her time to go take a look at it and come back and
Yeah,
show us.
absolutely.
you'll put her on the agenda in your
Yeah.
next meeting, it's gonna be
As long as
next
we can,
month.
or-
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically just table it.
Yeah, I can leave my card with Mary, and then Mary, you can call me. Yeah, and you can call me, and then we can set up some time, and I can just review your QuickBooks, just to kind of get an idea of what you've got going on now. Also taking into consideration what you're gonna have coming into the future. Because I don't know, as you grow, your expenses and your revenue streams are gonna be growing, and we need to make sure to.
Well, we kind of need it as long, because we're already looking at doing a loan right away here pretty soon, and do some things right away before October,
Sure.
so.
Sure.
It's my thought that we need to do this expeditiously.
Yeah.
So for next meeting, you should have.
I would like to have, maybe even have a
Special meeting.
special meeting in between,
Okay.
when she can come back to us in maybe 2 weeks or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
and get it, because I would like to have that bookkeeping system set up October 1,
Yep.
before we have any financial transactions
Yeah.
to have to go back and fill in. I would like to have it all set up, the numbers. I put numbers on in this budget just off of what she had.
Okay,
But
so
all
that
this-
budget is not entered in any kind of financial software now, like in
No,
QuickBooks or
no.
anything?
No. And the other thing is, like, we have worker comp and all that in here, but we don't have it by a line item.
Okay.
We just have it budgeted as insurance cost.
That you have already secured that insurance and you know the cost and all of it?
In the
That's
association already has it.
Oh, okay, got it.
Volunteers have it,
Okay,
and we're gonna be transferring it over. But it's a matter of, we didn't have a line item about
Sure.
how much.
right, okay.
So, and that kind of thing has to be done. But Mary can share the budget with you and show it to you and tell us what we need to do with it. I just made this is our first budget,
Okay.
and I made it in very general terms because
Because you didn't have
you don't know
anything to
what
start with,
you're
right?
going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think that you'll be very pleased, once that budget gets entered into QuickBooks, then your monthly financials, if you mentioned you have a treasurer and they provide like a financial statement to your board or whatever, all of that then would be generated through QuickBooks, and it would be less work on whoever your board treasurer is or anything like that, so.
You're gonna really like her.
Yeah.
Really like her.
Just pick up a piece of paper and take it, right?
But that was
You'll be
great.
surprised, though, we not only have one treasurer, we have a treasurer and an assistant treasurer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like her.
But I will,
Do you want to?
if you want me to, I could scan the budgets into you.
Okay.
Look at it, and then we can, I'll call you and we can,
Sure.
plan it.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say,
8 is 2 weeks.
Let me just look at my calendar.
Maybe
You want to do the 8th then?
8.
Give me just a second.
That's fine with me.
My calendar.
Yeah, let's see her calendar.
On 8.
Just 1 second.
So you get her to come back and report to us on 8.
Is it possible to do the 9th on a Wednesday, or does it always have to be a Tuesday?
Uh,
Or the first week of September? I mean, I know that's next week sometime, but
We gotta adjust our flight schedule.
Yeah. How about the 7th?
Labor Day?
Labor Day?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you can do it later.
I can't. I charge a
You
triple.
can't do it later here. Yeah.
We have.
Well, I don't have to be here. I mean, you guys can move it out. I mean, I just know on the 9th I gotta go.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to 8th then.
No, she can't do that.
Can't do the
Oh, she
eighth.
can't do that.
Available on the
Okay,
8th,
got it.
Calendar.
I'm available any other day that week or
The-
next
The
week.
following week of the 14th, week of the 14th and 1.
Wide open the week of the 14th.
So 15th on Tuesday?
That would still give us 2 weeks to get
Yeah.
this thing set up.
Yeah.
15th is
15th.
Well, our meeting is scheduled on the 22nd.
monthly meeting?
Yeah, because that's the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely right.
So we can do it the 15th and then get it done and have her 8 on the 22nd.
15th?
15th?
That's my wife's birthday.
How about the 9th again?
I tell you what, we'll give her a special seat at the table.
We'll bring her a cake.
Today's what, the 25th?
Yes, sir.
What about September 1? Can you get everything,
I
get
can.
everything there?
Are you?
I mean, I know it's 5 days
September
away.
1? Hold on.
What time, what'd you say?
Oh,
September 1?
wow, that's quick.
I know, that's next week.
That's next week already.
Here's the thing, though, the further we wait, the less time we have to get you up and running by October 1.
Do it September 1st, not fine.
All right,
You're not gonna be here, Jim?
No. All right.
How did you?
Could you attend by phone?
Yeah,
I mean, you can attend by phone.
I can do it.
okay.
Is that okay, Jim?
Yeah.
Let's just plan on a meeting September 1st.
Okay, I will be taking a couple of days off this week. I haven't done it in a while, so I will be back in the office till Monday, the 31st.
I can meet with you on Monday.
Okay.
Great.
And have it ready to go for the 1st,
We
all
have
right?
it all done one day?
Wow.
Sounds good with me.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's really quick though, I mean.
We don't have to do it September 1.
No, I think we're good September 1. If I can just get a look at your budget and then, you're not available tomorrow or the rest of this week is what you're saying. Okay.
We're gonna pick some time off.
We'll make it happen. I mean,
Yeah, I'll get with her. If I have to-
For me personally, if you guys were going to contract my services, the sooner we can do it, the better for me. So I'm not
Yeah.
number crunching
I
at
think
the
it's better
11th
for
hour.
us to get it done.
It's fine with me.
I think the first is good, because then there's plenty of time to have a report by the month that we go to. So,
But even if she, as quick as she said she could be, even if we went by the 15th, you guys will have next report. So I'll leave it up to you guys.
Well, let's proceed on the first, and if we run into a big roadblocks or something, then we can negotiate a different
I think
time.
if I can meet with Mary on the 31st, then early in the day or in that morning, then I should be able to have something for you by the 1st.
Okay.
I should be back Friday early. So
Okay.
if you're around Friday afternoon, maybe
Sure.
we can meet.
I might be able to help too with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So the first,
This one's the first
6 PM.
here.
And you guys have any questions? Tom knows where my office is. He's in my office every day. So.
Too much.
Right.
But I appreciate you and I wish you the best of luck. And I'm excited about you guys. So congratulations as well.
thank you.
We'll see you guys.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Jason.
Brenda. I will send it to you in the
Thank you,
morning.
Brenda.
Okay.
I'll scan it and send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank
Very,
you.
very much.
Good night.
Thank you, Brenda.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Those are several things that we've got done that are very quick. Item D. Discussion about entering into an interlocal agreement with the city of Post to provide a manned station. Possible action to follow.
I put that on it.
Okay.
I thought there were two. I thought somebody did there.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah. What I like to do
I didn't look at
is,
the number.
what I like to do is get the board to let me or let Buck do it, since he's at the city council meeting, to let them know. I sort of reciprocate back to the city of Post, since they came and talked to us 2 months ago, and say, we are ready, it's in our budget to do it, and to let them go ahead and start deciding they're gonna build their building, whatever else, to let them know that
We need to communicate our needs. too.
yeah, well, and that's why I think, Mary can tell Buck what he needs, and Buck can go to the city council and say, hey, I'm not just the maintenance guy now, I'm gonna be the ESD guy, and this is what we're here to do. We're here to tell you that if you can provide this,
We can provide that.
we'll put an ambulance down here.
So our next meeting will be on the 22nd?
22nd, yeah.
After the first.
After the
First
first.
meeting, and then the
Well,
monthly is on
the 22nd, we got a council meeting on the 21st, so that's,
Oh, that's good.
I'll get an agenda item put on the deal, and we probably won't get an action on them, but at least we have them aware of it, and we'll probably find out where they're gonna stand.
And I can gladly be there with you on the
Okay.
21st. I think I can be there.
I'll talk to the mayor tomorrow about it, and we'll let her make the agenda
No, I
item for
can't.
that. Just FYI, she did, bring it up, I can't remember, is this last meeting or meeting before that? She did bring it up that, we want to build nowhere, but it wasn't an action item, so, but they're aware. So, okay.
So I make a motion that we let Buck represent us at the next Post City Council meeting to put forward our agenda to them, that provided what Mary can tell us what the basic we need, his and her bathroom, shower, etc., and some home space, that we would entertain because like we know from when we went to the classes in February, before we all got sick of the Sergio, yeah, it's gonna be over a year before this thing gets
Yeah.
closed. So, you know, let's go ahead and move it forward, be proactive, and,
I think we need to let folks know that we're serious about this.
right,
Yeah,
And not playing games.
make an action item.
right.
And, Buck, I would like to come to the meeting too, if you would like. And,
You want me to talk to me?
let me know about it, call me the day before or something, let me know, and I would like to come. And any other council member or any board member that would like to come, as far as I'm concerned,
I can't be there, no, I
I
can't.
understand that, but,
I'd love to be there.
anyone else who would like to come, I think
I
we
could, the 21st, I could try.
Seven. Okay, let me clarify that motion that you made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just gets back on. You made a motion to allow Buck Griffin to represent the district in negotiations with the city of Hope on possibly establishing the station.
Yes.
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Passes 5-0.
Motion carried.
The 21st, right?
Okay, that's another good thing done. Now, this is a time for a report from WCBAA. By the way, I'm tickled to death. We have 4 of our volunteers here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I hope all of you choose to join us and be part of us. I'm going to say that because I think it's very important to you guys. I don't know if you've thought about it, but it's important to keep these people because you can bring someone out of San Antonio or Beeville or whatever, but when you tell them we're a farm, you've got somebody, you've got a farmer's gym, these people can tell you where it is. And other people will be driving around looking for it. I think it's important that we have people who are knowledgeable about the area, knowledgeable about our community. And so I think it's important that we keep as many of these people as we possibly can, as long as they meet our requirements. Report from Mary about any current state of the department and any assistance that they may require, transition, possible action to follow. Mary?
I'm gonna take off my mask, if that's okay, so I can hear you. I sent y'all an activity report for the month of July. So far, August has been just as busy, but for July, as I noted on the report, we had 118 calls. 45 of those were refusals, 73 were transports, 61 were medical, and 12 were trauma. 12 trauma is also considered falls that are nursing home falls are considered traumas instead of fall. So, which I didn't list there, I should have, was out of the 12, 6 were falls from nursing home. The call locations, 17 were out in the county, Floresville had 53, and 3 in Post, in the city. So, Floresville usually keeps us busy because of the nursing homes and, of course, the residents. Our average time from getting the call to clearing the call is about 45 minutes. A little more decon because of COVID. We have to spend more time on deconning and stuff, so it takes a little bit more time to do that. But we always have the other trucks ready. Speaking of that, we were very lucky to be chosen, or I guess we're in a lottery and we won the lottery through the state to get a virtual inspection. And that was fun because I've never done a virtual inspection of a truck. We had to have our iPad and we walked around. The state guy was asking us to pop locks and ask for stuff, and we keep all our cabinets locked for many reasons, but we had to pop every single one of them. And every time he asked for something, we had to show what we had. So everything was well. We passed it with flying colors. It was very pleased. And one of the things that I talked to Bill, I met with Bill yesterday and I told him it's the first time I've ever done a virtual one. So it was pretty fun. My poor paramedic at that time, And she was the one that, since it was an MICU truck, like I said, everything had to be popped. Meds, narcs, everything. So and we had to show everything he asked for. So it was about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Luckily, the iPad batteries kept up, and he was on his side, he was on a computer himself. So everything went well. He was very pleased with it, and here's a report. This past meeting we passed. We have been busy, meeting with people, meeting with the current volunteers that are becoming paid. I talked a little bit about it with Bill yesterday about talking to them, those that are from the outside. There's a few that we're gonna have to get from the outside. Paramedics, I think we wanna have more paramedics that are wanting to stay. We have paramedics now, but there's more that we're gonna need for every truck. Every truck will be MOCU. One of the biggest things was the benefits. They were very pleased when I mentioned that if you guys were willing to have benefits. That was like one of the catch. They were very pleased with it. Our call volume, I said, it depends on the day. We've had some that are on a 48-hour shift and have like 15 calls, and that's a lot for us. So if you have 2 trucks running, that's also awesome because each truck will have like 7. And it's not just one truck or the backup truck going. As this weekend, Bill could probably quote me on this, is we were busy. And luckily we had 2 trucks stacked with the volunteers and the paid. And so it went well. They were taking turns on calls. So really well. I have an application here that I'm going to give to Tom to look over on the hires they're going to have to. Bill wanted me to let you look at it. I also compared it to District 2's, and it was very, very similar to theirs on the hiring. It's knowing what to ask for. My HR experience kind of came in handy. I remember some stuff, but it came in really handy. And I'll give this to Tom so you can review it. We've been busy, like I said, when we do offer the job, their job, I'll make that offer, their position, their responsibilities, and what we expect of them, each level, what they're required to have, what we require for them to have, has been talked onto. I already do this with the paid staff that I already had, so this is nothing new to me on that, because I already had it. And I'll want me to look into the AMR's website and kind of see their job descriptions, and I'm doing that as well. We are working on 2 grants right now that won't be awarded till October, November. One is through the claims grant, and this grant is for monies for radios, and it's $7,500 that we can use towards radios. So, and it's a grant that we're working on right now. And we're also working on the Walmart grant. It's $5,000, and it can be used for equipment for our trucks, like portable sections, or any equipment we might need. They said, well, for example, y'all had a MASH casualty 3 years ago. Are you guys prepared with equipment-wise? And we're like, well, yeah, we have to. Now we've learned that we have to have more stuff for that. So we can use those monies if we get awarded that grant. I do have a letter that the Walmart grant needs to be signed by the board president, and then a W-9 that wants to attach to that. So when if we get the award, they already have a lot of information for them. Other than that, like I said, everybody's been excited. I already had some of my volunteers that are wanting to become paid. We have one here that he already handed in his 2-week resignation with his other job and committed to volunteering more hours with us till we go full paid from October 1. So
You're a paramedic?
he's an advanced DMT.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an advanced DMT, and the ones the hires that we're looking into in-house, I have one that is in paramedic school. She's a basic in paramedic school now. Another volunteer that's in basic is fixing to finish her paramedic school. She's in her last of her write-outs. And once that's completed, she could get her completion from her school and test for her state or national orders. So we've been busy, and we've been meeting.
Training funds that come in,
Yes.
like yourself, to where we're going to offer and try and offer, and we come on, helping pay for your school, or we haven't figured this out yet. This is all discussion time right now to further advance you.
And all the others, the advanced AMTs that we have, they are willing to want to get going. finding a school that's good for them to continue with education and become paramedics. So everybody's excited. We're excited to know it's a challenging, it's a trial and error for all of us, and they know that, but we have a good group of people. By the next meeting, hopefully, all those that are ready to get hired will be here at the meeting, so you guys know who they are.
On the 22nd?
On the 22nd, yes, sir. I'll have more of an idea of all that, so I think it's good for you guys to know who your staff's gonna be, and they know you, so they see you guys, they know that. And Bill was in the office yesterday, and he's told some that were there, you know, guys, we're here 24/7. My phone is always on, just like mine is, and you know, we don't have that communication for all of us, and for you guys as well. So they see you and they know who you are, and I think it's very important that you know who's working. You get to know who they are. And, if you ever come on a scene that you have to become a code firefighter for some reason,
I am a full time. Tell you how many fire the
So we've been rocking and rolling. It's been busy, and I've been pretty fortunate to have 2 truck staff today. I just happen to be in the backup, and of course, get a backup. But it works out. It's been working out really well. And I know in the beginning, I won't be on the schedule, but I'll be available in case something hits the fan, and I'll be there. A mass casualty. Like yesterday, I was able to go to my command unit and see the patient. Party was getting there. So stuff like that, I'm glad y'all just let me do. Other than that, it's looking very promising. I'm looking forward to the changes, and so is the current volunteers that I have that want to become paid.
I mentioned yesterday when I met with, and this is my vision, but I hope that every person we hire can hold their head up high and say, I'm a Wilson County EMS 4 or ESD 4 paramedic, basic or emergency medical technician, and not list 15 other places where they work or whatever. I want to make sure that they're proud of where they work work for us, and they're part of our team. And that's my goal. And I don't mind saying that. I think it's imperative that we have people that are dedicated to our service, and people that have been working as volunteers should show that dedication. So that's my, that said.
On this, going back to this activity report, is there anything else you guys want to see on this activity report for our calls? I know Sherry wouldn't know more of this, because when I said the fall, she's like, I know, Mary, it's the nursing home fall.
But it's still the #1 injury.
It is, falls are, and
it falls in the trauma direction.
It does. And that's where we get them, because of the nursing homes.
On your county runs, were there anything out west of Florida? Not,
we had a couple of calls off of 1344.
Yeah, that's not
1344, we had
Louise area out that way.
yes, and then we had was it an in-house death out there?
Yeah.
I think with this crew, we had in-house death. So we do have the calls out in the Northwest, not as.
The reason why I bring it up is I know in your strat plan, you and I talked in 5 years or 6 years, hopefully have something across the river.
Yeah.
You know, with this hurricane coming in, if it did come up, the river came up.
Right.
And we talked a little about that yesterday as well, about
Yeah,
hurricanes and stuff.
That's something that is in the back of my mind.
Sure it is.
Right,
And
3 years
I
ago.
worry about it.
Yeah.
I think that, well, my train just left the track. Anyway, I believe that from what I've observed, we have the makings of executing. I'm very pleased with that. I believe in the people we've got at the barn now, and I'm excited about this. And I hope that we can maintain this excitement, even though we're going to run into roadblocks and traffic jams and everything else that we run into. Our fire positivity is gonna rub off on most people who are actually making guns.
We want you to be proud, we'll make them proud.
That's what we're hoping for.
Carrying on our legacy, you know.
Exactly. I stress that to these guys all the time. I said, we gotta make those people proud.
I got one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Shuttle Biatch, she passed away.
Right.
And you know about that airline. I got a phone call from her mom and dad. You want to know why their airline, I don't know, I didn't ask her. She wanted to know why airline couldn't find their location by GPS, or was it GPS problem?
It was, okay, so with AirLife, their dispatch no longer is in the state, it's out of state. So their dispatch messed up with the coordinates. So we had to get our own coordinates to get to them. It was fire department's fault, it was none of our fault.
From that, what I'm asking is that the fire department give coordinates?
They should, yes.
Did they?
No, we did.
Y'all did? I mean, they just had a concern, they didn't understand why.
She talked to me a little bit about it, but not in length, but yeah. It was no fault by EMS, no, it was just the coordinates on their dispatch. We have spoken, the people from airline did call, and were very apologetic, and that will happen.
I'm trying to just take the station.
Okay?
One thing that I noticed in the activity report was the number of refusals. Those are expensive for us. Not only does it take a unit out of action, but it's like, you know, it's an expense for us to run that unit out. I think we definitely need to look later on down the line about qualifying our referrals, our refusals. Now, if a police officer calls in, or a firefighter, or someone, and I need an ambulance out here because I get this person needs to get checked out, that I can understand. I used to do that myself. But if someone just keeps repeating, you know, come out here and check my blood pressure, or come out here and take my temperature, we need to look at those.
We don't charge for refusals?
No, we don't. We attempted at some point, and it fell through. It was a, they just didn't pay. And we were like, and it was usually the same. Usually I always tease the family, and I tease, but I say, okay guys, first round's on us. If you continue doing this, you're gonna get a bill. And this particular patient, you might remember, hearing this going out a lot of community, out in the county. 3 or 4 calls a week, pick me up in my remote control. We had one recently in Pope, but now he no longer is in Pope. So that's going to alleviate that refusal.
I think we need to pick it back up.
Yes, sir.
Even if you send it to somebody to go chase them down for the rain, that's aggravation on their part. And that helps, it's going to be a two-way street. It's either going to continue or they're going to stop.
Right, and I think with this, I didn't list, when I said the amount of refusals, I didn't put location, and I think I need to include that in the location. Is because a lot of times it is an officer calling.
Like if it's more than one, if the same person multiple times?
Yes.
So add it on your list, so this person's called 3 times.
Okay. You want more detail on the
Yeah.
refusals? Okay.
But I think we can start charging them for these.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we had talked about in the past. We were charging a flat fee like of $75. But that's something that I could tell the billing company to start up doing again on October 1. Now, like Bill said, there's times that the officer will call, or it's a third-party caller. We can't really charge that third party when it's my cousin in Alabama called because her aunt in Floresville is not answering her phone.
Some of those can come to the board meeting and we can say, hey, write those off or whatever. Can we do that? I mean, if we can determine that really wasn't a third party, you know.
I think
And
that-
usually we'll know by dispatch, we'll let us know.
I know as a police officer, you get out there sometimes and
See a
you've
bad
got
wreck.
someone,
Yeah.
you don't know what their status is.
Right.
You need to have,
Yeah.
you need somebody to back you up and help. I
Right.
have no problems with that at all. I don't have any problems with the firefighter calling me and saying, hey,
Yeah.
I got this person down over here. but when it's the same
Yes.
house,
Abuse.
and it's abusing it, when you check my blood pressure, will you give me a ride into Floresville?
But you
My
wouldn't be up
daughter's
in the
house.
bed,
And I used to have that,
Yes.
and you did too,
just to go check.
where people would call.
Get him up in the bed for me.
Sister Laverne and I made a run one time down here where the lady, we saw the lady, the man get out and walk around to the other, run around to the other house. So, you know, and then sit there panicking.
Yeah, and other
So-
times, yeah.
We need to get that under control.
I will get more detail on the reviews and the
Yeah.
locations as well. Also, this also comes into play, like we work an accident and there's 6 people and all 6 refuse. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Sometimes it happens, there are 3 in each car and they're like, oh, we're fine.
We don't want to go to jail.
So like I said, I will do more detail on the refusals and more location ones. Like today, we had one in both, was a refusal, but the lady was in close.
And I can understand all of the lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when people just abuse the system.
Yes, exactly.
It's
That's
it's the medical,
part of it, yeah.
the medical refusals.
Right. Or can you just give me some medication and leave me?
Yeah.
Our attorney has something about.
I also forgot to mention, a little windfall, the county passed their budget Monday, and they are budgeting $31,500 that would have been paid to the volunteer ambulance service for the yearly payment will be paid after October 1 in District 4. Yeah, so that's another amount we'll factor. What you got?
Also, I've spoken to that new area that we're really picking up October 1. Some of that funding will also be to ESD 4. Right. It was- Yeah, District 2, Sacramento's area.
Sacramento's area.
Well, that's a good point, because they also
Calaveras.
budgeted for ESD too, and I'll check on that, because we are
Don't give
taking.
them our money.
Well, that's what happened last year, and we were all.
That's when you got that thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about it, because I just found out, they went back and forth, they didn't know if they were gonna have the money, and apparently they did. I wasn't at the meeting, but I see it is on the budget here. We've got all these agencies.
We probably at the next meeting need to see about getting the loan out, we get your truck fixed.
Well, right now, what I'm telling y'all is that 31.5 will be paid. So that is money we will actually get from the
Yeah, so, yeah.
banking needs to be set up.
Well, we got bills to pay off
Do we have a
that.
bank account yet?
I think 30,999 goes to the attorney, right?
Do you sit on the paperwork?
I haven't set up.
Speaking of trucks,
Good to go. Awesome.
we kind of missed the deadline. The deadline was way before we discussed. I just texted TCQ today, and they will reinstate the program, but it's going to be in the fall of 2020, so that could be now, between now and then. They spent all the money they had, because they had enough ambulance services or the city that submitted everything, so they had enough to pay out, but not enough to continue, so they shut it down, and they'll redo it. So I got a company, and I talked to a bunch of these car dealers there, talking to Sarah, a bunch of them, and you talk to them about this, it's the TURP program, what it is, and you talk to them, they just shut the wrong thing, they won't do the paperwork with TCQ, because it's horrendous.
Yeah.
Anything to do with the state. But I talked to professional ambulance services and sales in Amarillo, Texas, they said they will be willing to do it. Their truck, what you would do, you blue one. What they gonna do. So, he's after more of the dump trucks and the bigger trucks. So, he did say the one ambulance, he said the box is probably outdated. He said, I'm not gonna lie to you about it. He said, but we can help you with this program. I got to text him again tomorrow, tell him that TCQ is no longer good, but we're willing to do it, but also we're willing to possibly pay for a truck, work on it, when we get another one, but it's going to be our decision on what to do. So, the cabin chassis Dodge right now is right at $42,000. That's not a remount, that's just brand new truck chassis. So that's a start.
I think next meeting we should
You really need to,
put
yeah.
we should put something down, if we go ahead and start looking at borrow some money to fund this thing, and re-chassis this, put
Yeah.
this box on this chassis.
I sent the documentation to Fall City, and Maureen's out till Thursday, so but she said it looked good. We just need to know, you know, amount, how much are we wanting to borrow? You know, and then we all gotta go sign, do the IDs and all that. They would do it at the Eagle Creek Bridge.
Okay.
You know, when I talked to her beforehand, how we would go about it, because their lobbies are closed.
Yeah.
Well, my fear is, and I look at these other units, and a lot of them are paying so much in debt service
No, I agree. No, I'm just saying,
that it scares me. And I don't want us to get into that. I'd rather pay that debt service to our EMTs and equipment. But I'm willing to talk about borrowing money, but I don't want to do it on a frequent basis. I think we need to kind of do it, if we have to go slow, we have to go slow, but we've got to get it done. And I'd rather do it without having to get us a debt.
That's short-term financing, so.
Yeah.
What they're referring to, that debt service, that is capital improvements, that is
And I understand that.
And it's coming, it's coming.
yeah, I'd like to, next budget, actually go forward with an amount to get this truck in and get it done and re-chassis it. Like, we've been talking about that for 3 months.
Yes.
I mean, we got two options. Probably the county money, or whatever we think, we buy one truck outright, borrow the money and have it remounted. But I guess what I'm saying, there's two trucks that qualify for that program.
Right.
2010 qualifies for all of that.
That's what she's asking you.
That's the one you want? That's what you want?
It's not gonna come
Right.
We have, in our budget, we have, on the third page, we can see we have money coming in. for that.
Right.
And I just think we need to be very deliberate about what we're doing and kind of plan work out. If we borrow money in short term, get it paid off, and out of the way.
No, I was looking at within the year. That's what I'm saying.
There is-
We did it now so you can get it in,
Right.
and while they're working on it, we can make,
There is some programs that I've checked into that I spoke a little bit about it with Tom a while back. Is if we were to, let's say we purchase the truck that I gave you that bid on, the Southwest.
Yeah.
They have a program for their finance. They'll extend you either 6 months or 12 months to make that payment.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be done, as long, all you need is a PO from you guys saying, and then you guys will
So
determine.
we'll have the budget money in there by the time it gets
That's
done.
what I'm talking
But
about.
yeah,
So you have those options out there.
right.
It's just getting the paperwork, they needed like, you know, resolutions or whatever
Well, we
they
need to
needed.
put something forward so that she can go forward.
I have no problem. with
That's
that.
what I was talking about doing, is doing that. So that
I have no
we
problem with that.
get
It's
this down the road.
just that I don't want to say that.
If you can do it on the first, it's fine, I don't have to be here for it, I mean, I just like to see it get done, so you can do it on the first, and then special meeting, you can have, put it in that one, and then the 22nd, when you sign the minutes, and give them to Mary, she can get it out. That would speed it up faster, because you're gonna have to have signed minutes with your
Right.
purchase order to do it, so it takes 2 meetings.
And also, when I send in that state paperwork for our state license for Wilson County Emergency Service District 4 EMS, our trucks have to list ESD 4 on it. Because when they did this virtual, even when they met in December, they had to make sure that it was noted on the truck, and it says ESD 4 somewhere on the truck.
So I
So,
think we do the
it doesn't matter, a stencil or something,
Yeah.
but it has to list ESD 4 on the trucks.
Well, I think with the patch and everything, we get this, there's nothing,
That's the next-
agenda here.
I don't have anything else, but I'm available to you on anything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the job.
Well done, Mary. Well done.
Okay, we're gonna move to the next item. Okay, discussion and possible action regarding district logo.
No, got the email, right, with the new logo?
Moving close over in Floresville.
Yes.
Yeah, and it fit, yeah,
It
it
did
looked pretty
fit.
good.
It did fit.
Good.
Do I have a motion on that, to approve that?
Make a motion that we approve the new.
Did you, the sign shop right here in Clover?
I will visit with them once you guys approve the logo.
She's got the logo ready, but I have not told her that we're moving floors and posts together.
Right, and we have it here on a thing that we can send her. Or I can visit with her and send it to her.
Do I have a motion to approve that?
A motion that we approve the logo with the new Portal Post wording on it.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion? A motion by Ellen, second by Griffin.
I saw it, but I
Any further
yeah, it looks
discussion?
good.
All those in favor of that, you raise your hand. Okay, you raising your hand.
This, I apologize.
Okay,
So,
5-0.
Anybody want to see it?
I have it here, so.
your shirts and stuff, Ray, will come, it will change, but that's the guy in Floresville.
We can, well, now that we're changing the logo, it doesn't matter where we go, because we're gonna have to set up a fee with them now,
Yeah.
because there's a change to the
Well, she
logo.
can't do shirts over here. Oh,
She can't?
I don't know.
Can she do
She does
shirts?
everything. She does
Yeah, I
jacket
think
shirts.
so.
She does everything.
I'm just saying, if you got one place to go, so we know where to go and get shirts
Yes.
made and stuff, and get our other things we need to get.
Because there's only one bar.
If you need decals for the trucks, you can do those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Okay,
Thanks.
I have nothing further on the agenda.
Nice, to be very nice. That'd be awesome. Do you have money in your budget right now to get those done before October 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have nothing further on the agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second to that?
I second it.
I'll take you there.
Motion by Emma, second by Kowski.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
5-0.